I'd like you to think with me about how to put together the worst diet in the world. Now let's see if we can construct a diet that would have the maximal chance of undermining health, shortening life, and increasing common diseases of age. Okay, so let's start. Where would we start? Let's start with carbohydrates. First of all, you'd want to load this diet up with calories. You want people to be eating too many calories, more than they can burn off through their activities of daily living. Then you would want to load it up with too much of the wrong kind of carbohydrate. That is very high glycemic index carbohydrate. So that means a lot of refined products. So it's a lot of products made from white flour, a lot of foods sweetened with sugar, and you'd want a lot of high fructose corn syrup in there for whatever disruptive effects it has on metabolism. You'd want really a lot of this. Then in terms of fat, you want too much fat. You want to make as much saturated fat as possible. You also want to put in a lot of polyunsaturated vegetable oils. You would want to make sure that it was deficient in sources of essential fatty acids. That's key. Then in terms of protein, probably also too much protein, too much from animal sources. In terms of micronutrients, you'd want it to be as deficient as possible in fiber, in vitamins and minerals, and in protective compounds. Now, I think you could spend a little more time at this and actually really refine this and come out with meal plans based on the worst possible food you could eat. Now, this is fun to do. I would suggest doing this as an exercise. After you've done this, I would like you to go to a fast food restaurant of your choice and compare how closely what's being served there matches with what you have just constructed. In the last year, a team of Australian researchers fed volunteer subjects 3 different meals to see their effect on arterial function. The first meal was a very high fat meal, very high, something like 50-some grams of fat. The fat was used fat taken from the deep fryer of a fast food restaurant. The second meal had the same amount of fat, but it was fresh cooking fat. The third meal was a low-fat meal, about 10% of calories as fat. An hour after eating, the researchers used a new non-invasive test to measure arterial flow through the brachial artery, the main artery in the arm, and found that within 1 hour of the meal, those subjects fed the first meal had marked reduction in blood flow into the arm, whereas those in the other 2 meals did not. And this was interpreted as immediate arterial dysfunction due to oxidative damage from toxic compounds in used cooking fat. 1 meal. I don't think I need to elaborate on that finding.